Welcome back to the Bad Influence Podcast, where we don't want you to water yourself down, so we help you to stop doing that. I'm the bad influence that you need in your life, Bjordan Banderas. Let me ask you something. When was the last time you truly felt like you? Not the watered down version of yourself you show to the world, but the real you. The person who once embraced life without worrying about fitting in. I'm talking about that version of you. You can't remember, can you? Well, that's because you have forgotten who the fuck you are. And I get it. I totally get it. You're not alone. Society, expectations, trying to fit in, they've all played a part in making you bury the real you. You're so caught up in playing the game, meeting everyone else's standards, trying not to step on any toes, that you lose yourself. You silence that inner voice that used to tell you to be bold, to stand out, to be real. Today's episode is all about reclaiming that voice. It's about remembering who you were before the world told you to change and how you can get back to living as your authentic self. By the end of this episode, I want you to walk away feeling empowered to reconnect with the real you. The real version of you. We're going to break down how you lost yourself in the first place, how to recognize the signs, and how to start showing up as the person you were always meant to be, unapologetically. Trust me, once you remember who you are, everything, and I mean everything in your life fucking changes. Let's start by talking about why you forget who you are. Here's the thing. It doesn't happen overnight. You don't just wake up one day and decide to suppress the real you. No, that's not how it happens. It happens slowly, piece by piece. Maybe you're trying to fit in at work. Maybe it's with your family. Or maybe it's society in general telling you to tone it down, to be less expressive, to be less you. Every time you give in to those pressures, a small part of you gets buried. Now, this conformity, this need to fit in, it messes with your head. It really does. You start to believe that being yourself isn't good enough and that you have to mold yourself into what other people expect. And let me tell you, that's where the problem begins. You lose your confidence, your spark, and eventually you forget who the fuck you are. You start living for everyone else instead of for yourself. The real danger is that this process happens so gradually that most people don't even realize it until they're completely lost. And by the time they do realize it, they feel stuck, like they can't break free. But I'm here to tell you that not only can you break free, you must if you want to live the life you deserve. I went through this myself. After moving to the States, I felt this overwhelming pressure to fit in. I tried to tone down my personality, tried to fit the mold of what I thought people wanted from me. I suppressed my expressiveness, my culture, everything that made me who I am. I didn't realize it at the time, but I was slowly losing myself. But it wasn't until I switched jobs and started working with other Mexicans again that I realized how much of myself I had buried. I hadn't worked with that many Mexicans in years, and suddenly I was back in an environment where I could speak my language, use my humor, my dark humor, and just be me. People would laugh at my jokes. People will understand my jokes, even in English. I was like, hell yeah. It hit me like a ton of bricks. How had I forgotten this part of myself for so long? That moment was a wake-up call. I was reminded of the real me, the loud, expressive, unapologetic Jordan. And once I reconnected with that version of myself, everything changed. I felt joy. I felt alive. And most importantly, I felt like me again. And this joy, it didn't just stop there. It gave me the confidence to show up as myself in all areas of my life. It helped me find better jobs, connect more deeply with my friends and family, and improve every single relationship. That's the power of being yourself. Once I embraced who I was, my confidence skyrocketed. I wasn't afraid of being too much or too loud anymore. I wasn't worried about fitting into anyone else's expectations. And you know what? That confidence translated into great opportunities for me. I found myself landing better jobs, moving up in companies, and deepening my connections with the people around me. People often tell you that you need to change to succeed in life, right? But here's the truth. When you embrace who you are, that's when you truly succeed. I stopped trying to fit into boxes that were not meant for me, and instead, I started creating my own path. And it felt fucking amazing. It wasn't just in my career where I saw the changes, my relationships improved too, especially with my wife, the most important person in my life. Being myself allowed me to connect with her on a deeper level, to communicate more openly and honestly. I wasn't putting up a front anymore, and that allowed our relationship to thrive, which is something that you should be aiming for in any aspect of your life. When you stop pretending, you give people the chance to connect with the real you. The right people will love and accept you for who you are, and the wrong people, well, they'll fall away. And that's okay. The right relationship with the right person will change everything. All right. So, how do you get back to being the real you? How do you remember who the fuck you are after years of burying that part of yourself? Well, here are some practical steps. Step 1. Start small. Practice being yourself with the people you trust the most. Maybe it's your partner, a close friend, or a family member. If you've been suppressing your real self for years, it's going to feel uncomfortable at first. But I promise you, it gets easier. As long as you keep practicing, like understanding how to read the room and all these things, people are going to tell you like, hey, that's too much, or, just don't step over the line with certain people. You're going to be able to find your rhythm. But it's going to be uncomfortable. And that's something that you need to understand. Step 2. Set boundaries with people who try to make you conform. Oh, yes. You don't owe it to anyone to fit into their version of who you should be. If someone's constantly telling you to be less, to act a certain way, it's time to put up some boundaries. You can't grow when you're constantly shrinking to meet other people's expectations, right? Think about it. You won't be able to grow. In step 3, this is going to be hard for a lot of people. Embrace vulnerability. Being yourself means being open, honest, and vulnerable. I know, the V word. The one V word that a lot of guys hate. I know it's scary. It is scary to be vulnerable. It is super fucking scary. But it's also freeing. The more you allow yourself to be vulnerable, the more authentic connections you create with the people who truly matter. Your friends, your best friends, your family, those family members that are always there for you, your wife, your spouse, your kids, things like that. Here's the thing. And I want you to literally repeat this time and time again until you make this your motto. There's power in authenticity. When you show up as yourself, you attract the right people, the right opportunities, and the right energy into your life. You stop wasting time on people who don't matter, and you start building relationships and experiences that do. For me, the biggest shift came when I started showing up at work as my real self. I didn't feel the need to fit into the corporate mold anymore. I was loud, expressive, and unapologetically me. And you know what? People respected me for that. They listened to me more because they knew I was being real with them. And that's what I want for you. I want you to show up in every area of your life as the person you were always meant to be. Don't hold back. Don't conform. And don't apologize for being you. The world needs more people who are real, who are honest, and who are unafraid to be themselves. Remember, the people who matter will love and accept you for who you are. And the people who don't, well, they were never meant to be in your life in the first place, right? If you think about it. They try to hold you back for a reason, so they can keep you at their level. But then, you don't need those types of people. So, if you've been feeling lost, if you've been struggling to remember who you are, this is your wake-up call. You don't have to keep living a life where you suppress the real you. It's time to reconnect with yourself, to remember the person you were before the world told you to change. Start today. Take off the mask. Set those boundaries. Be vulnerable. And most importantly, show up as the person you were always meant to be. Because once you do, everything in your life will start to change for the better. You're going to be all like, wow, I should have done this years ago. Because that's exactly what happened with me. When I started doing this, I was like, I should have done this a long time ago. Why didn't I start doing this 5, 10 years ago, maybe 20 years ago? Oh yeah, because of this. Okay, well now I'm going to be me. Now I'm going to take my life to the next level. My career to the next level. My success to the next level. And I'm going to do it by being me. And that's it for today. Thanks for tuning in to the Bad Influence Podcast. If this episode hit home for you, share it with someone who needs to hear it. And remember, don't let the world make you forget who the fuck you are. And have a great day.